Yeah. We like I'll find it.
I'm sorry, John. Yeah. I was a Grinch, I guess. Buddy? Oh. Hey, how you doing?
How are you?
Yeah, I saw him down here. Out of the bridge. Yeah.
I looked at our numbers. Price four. They,
Ready? Okay, I'd like to call the meeting to order. And first off, if you would make sure you set your phones to silent or vibrate so it doesn't interrupt the proceedings, that would be great. And if you're standing, join me with the opening prayer and the Pledge of Allegiance. Lord, thank you for this town that you've given us to live in. All the cadets that we have here attending tonight, thank you so much for them, our police force, our fire departments, our parks and rec, our town staff, everybody that makes up this town, thank you so much for them. Please keep Tim Vanoy's family in our remembrances as we go through the next week and through the rest of our life, really, as he's gone through a tremendous loss. Keep him in your thoughts and prayers. He's with us every day, and whether he's here tonight physically or not, he's still with us. So please join me in wishing him the best for him and his family. In your name we pray. Amen. All right. Thank you, everybody, for coming out tonight. We got a pretty good house full, so that's always a good thing. The first section is public comment, and we don't have anybody signed up that would be pertaining to anything that's on the agenda. And so no one signed up, so we'll move on to the adoption of the agenda and consent items. And that's for April 28th, regular and closed sessions, and the resolution approving the plan to annex property. Do I have a motion on that or any?
So moved.
Okay, a second?
Second.
And that motion was to adopt, right? Okay. Okay, so we have a motion and an adopt. Let's vote on that. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? So that carries and is adopted. We'll move next to appointments, recognitions, and presentations. And we are grateful to have Frankie Howard here tonight. Thank you for your time, and he'll be giving us a presentation on UNWASA. He's the CEO for UNWASA, and thank you for coming out, Frankie, and we appreciate everything you do for our county.
Thank you for having me. I'll use this mic. Everybody hear me fine? All right, I got a few slides to go through. I think you guys have this in your packets. Again, I appreciate asking me. Board member Director Wayne had asked me to reach out to John, and we coordinated this update. So I'll go along. This is informal. If you've got questions as I go through this, please interrupt me, and I'll gladly answer those. You guys have seen this before. You know our background. We were formed by our member governments many years ago now, back in 2000, so it's going on 26 years. Those are our member governments. All the municipalities in Onslow County came together to form UNWASA. Current board of directors, as you can see here, consist of County Commissioner Royce Bennett, Paul Connor, who's from Richlands, Rick Grant, Mayor of North Topsail Beach, of course Wayne Herbert from here in Swansboro, Jerry Bittner, Jacksonville, Tony Paget, also a county commissioner, Bob Warden represents Jacksonville, and Greg Hines from Holly Ridge. This is my current leadership team. Of course, I always say it's all about who you surround yourself with, so I got a very good, talented leadership team. Starting there with Matt Paget, my COO, all the way down to customer service, Tina Ryle. These are our UNWASA by the numbers. We like to share these annually through our budget process, so you may have seen these before too. We just updated them for our budget materials this year. I'd like to point out, you see that top number, that's our annual drinking water capacity in gallons. And I'll show some maps here in a little bit. It'll show kind of where that is throughout the county. You can also see our wastewater treatment capacity, how much we treat annually compared to that capacity, so on and so forth, all the way down to our full-time employees, 185. This map, I know it's hard to see, but again, hopefully you saw it in your packet, but these are our service areas throughout the county. So as you can see, we're separated by the base and by the city of Jacksonville and the Huffman Forest, so it makes it a little bit of a challenge to reach all those service areas. On the map, you can see the blue dots. Those are our 2 water treatment plants. Hubert is the closest one here that serves this area. Then we have Dixon down around Holly Ridge, and then the rest of the county is served through the Black Creek water system. All the water system is interconnected, but it is quite the challenge to move water from, say, Hubert all the way down to the Dixon area. But we do have some booster pump stations that are strategically located to move water. This map shows our yearly meter installs from 2025. Again, hard to see it on this screen, but you can see the little blue dots. Those are where we put a water meter in last year. So over 1,000 meters installed. I think our average is still running anywhere between 115 to 120 per month throughout the system. This is our annual water production per year. It goes way back to the early days of the county water system. Most recently, you can see on the bar chart there, we've diversified our water source. So the blue line, the lower portion is what we pull from the Black Creek water system, which is in that Richlands area. And then the other two lines are our two water treatment plants. The Hubert is the red, the Dixon is the green. As you can see, over time, we've been weaning ourselves off the Black Creek water system, which is what the state required us to do. This shows it more on a month-to-month basis, so you can see kind of our peak months are right there in the middle. It's May, June, July. It even goes into August and September, so it just kind of puts it in a monthly perspective. This is our wastewater treatment capacity compared to what we actually treated through our different wastewater treatment plants. So we do not have wastewater countywide. That was something that was initially thought to be a good push for UNWASA to be informed. We have slowly reached out into some of the areas of the county, and we've taken over some private systems. But currently we have around, I think, 16,000 wastewater customers compared to the 60,000 water customers that we have. But you can see the blue line are the capacities, and then the orange line is what we've treated against that capacity. So for here, you see the Swansboro. This, again, is a little bit dated because it's an annual snapshot at December, but our capacity here is 600,000 gallons per day, and we were averaging around 400,000 gallons. So it's around 68%, I think is what I said. This just shows you where the wells are physically located throughout the county. So here for the Hubert water treatment plant, we have 14 Castle Hayne aquifer wells in and around the Hubert water treatment plant. That's your primary water source for this area. We also push that water through the Piney Green booster station out to the Black Creek well field between Jacksonville and Richland. We have a new website within or a new page within our website, projects of interest. So I just want to highlight that. If you have not been there, you can certainly look at that and see the different projects that are active. The one that's most relevant to here would be our Highway 24 wastewater utility corridor improvements. So we are putting in a new force main. That's what this map shows, that ties the Swansboro system into the Piney Green system, which is ultimately treated on base through a contract we have with the Marine Corps base with their French Creek wastewater treatment plant. So we're utilizing an existing 12-inch line that carries the effluent out to the Parkertown site, and then it's a new force main, an 18-inch force main from that site onto Piney Green. That should actually be complete next month. So they're that close to getting finished with that project. You go to the site, you can actually watch this drone footage. I'm not sure if it's been updated yet, but this kind of shows the route of that progress or that force main. We have recently done a water system master plan, which is involving some modeling of our system. As I mentioned earlier, we have 60,000 roughly water customers throughout the county, quite a bit more than the sewer customers. So a good portion of that was the county water system that we took over. So this map shows all the water lines throughout the system. So we did some flow testing through this model. So we're using the information that has been updated in this model to talk about capital improvement projects that are needed to improve water flow pressures throughout the county. You can also see where the water towers are located on this map. This is actually a little more detailed GIS-related map. And all the little blue lines are the county water lines and the town water lines that we took over, and any new lines throughout the system. This is a zoomed-in water line. Probably familiar, we had a little bit of a water main break this morning. We had a contractor hit that orange line, that 8-inch water line that feeds the Swansboro tank. What's interesting about the Swansboro system, there's, in theory, two systems here. There's the old Swansboro system that was the town system before we took over, and then the county's water system that was in and around the area. So we do have those systems tied together in 3 locations, but one of those, the old Hammocks Beach and Hammocks Beach Road, was bypassed due to this break. So the only thing that was feeding was the 4-inch line that comes down Swansboro Loop Road this morning. So it was limited in the flow. Luckily, now that we've got this repair made, they did install a new valve, which allows some additional isolation capabilities. if we have a future incident. The line was properly located. Unfortunately, their boring machine hit it square in the middle, and they bored a hole directly through the 8-inch water. So just some other active projects. We have the Southeast Wastewater Regional Wastewater Treatment Plant down in Sneads Ferry. We're trying to take it from a 1.5 MGD wastewater capacity to 3.5 MGD. We're also looking to expand the Dixon Water Treatment Plant from 4 MG to 6 MGD. That would mirror what we have here at the Hubert plant. Other sewer and water line projects. So in addition to the sewer force main down Highway 24, we also have a 18-inch water transmission main that has been designed. We're just waiting on proper easements to put that in place. A good portion of that will be also on the base as it follows the corridor that the sewer force main was on. We're also working on some sewer force mains in the Holly Ridge area, one that'll carry the flow from the Summer House plant out to the Southeast Regional. And then there's a Camp Davis transmission line, which will be part of the Camp Davis Industrial Park to tie back over to the Southeast Regional plant. We recently adopted our budget. We're a government entity just like the town, and we have an annual budget. It starts in July. So we recently adopted that. More information about that's on our website. We have a updated rate and fee schedule that took effect July 1st, so that's there as well. These are some of the slides I used as part of our budget presentation to the board, just to show some of our increased expenses over the years. This is our treatment supply cost. As you can see, it has steadily increased over the years, and we are trying to get creative in the way that we bid those out. I think we went to a 6-month contract recently just to try to shield ourselves from some of the increased cost. We're actually trying something new that we learned from our counterparts in the Fayetteville area, some reverse auctions on chemicals and certain supplies, and that seems to have gotten them some competitive pricing on that. This is just some utility costs. So we're a utility consumer as well, so we have to purchase electricity to run these facilities. So this just shows that increase. Fuel costs, everybody's familiar with that, and we also are a consumer of fuel. We are looking at ways to strategically purchase bulk fuel and possibly partner with the county since they have a bulk fuel yard next to our facility. Equipment, and same thing, equipment fuel. The other one is fleet fuel. That's it. That's all my slides. If you've got questions, feel free to ask. And of course, like we mentioned here, update your contact information. I know that seems to always be a common question about when we have these outages, for example. I mean, today's example was an emergency outage, so we're doing the best we can to figure out exactly what's going to be impacted once we find the valves and isolate the area. So the first map today was a little bit of a guess, if you will. So we send out the calls to that affected area, and then when we boots on the ground, figure out exactly where the outage will be, we update that. So additionally calls go out. I think ultimately we had like 1,300 customers impacted by the outage this morning. So that's why it's important to have your correct contact information with us, so we send out text messages, phone calls, emails. Some of you may have them blocked, because we might send out more than you would like to see, but it is important to get those calls when it's an emergency. Any questions? I do want to say I appreciate the partnership we do have with the town. Work with the town manager quite a bit. We have our, monthly meetings. We meet with all the managers across the county. So helpful to have that partnership and work on joint issues together.
I just want to thank you for the way y'all handled that leak today. You guys were out there like right on it as soon as it started getting phone calls.
Yeah, what's unique about that is they have to work in their early hours. I mean, I think DOT requires them to work after hours so that they're not, impeding the traffic flow. I think the first call we got was around 4:30 this morning, and we were out there immediately to figure out how bad it was. Of course, it was a major outage.
It was pretty flooded out there.
Yeah, it was. I saw the pictures.
And of course, Wayne's our representative here in town, so he can be a liaison between Frankie as well.
And just to add to what the mayor was saying, we certainly appreciate all the updates throughout the day, the communications from the town. I mean, we were seeing emails starting probably at 6:30 this morning that continued into this afternoon. I was just going to ask a question just for our knowledge as well as the community. When you have a situation like this, when a contractor breaks a line, and I'll offer that we've seen other breakages in town, in other subdivisions from a contractor. What is the recourse that Onwassa has, or I guess when you move forward on the back end of this now, after you've assessed it and repaired it, to try to, I guess, get across to the contractor that there is some sort of recourse and there is some sort of, I guess you could say penalty, for the lack of better words. I mean, what does that process look like?
It all falls back on the locates. You know, we talk about, calling in the locate request. So that's what we first checked to make sure that was done. And then did we follow through to actually locate it where the line was? There are occasions where we may miss it. You know, if we're outside of the tolerance zone, then it falls back on us. But we had it marked properly this morning from what I was told. So we do document the damage cost, our time that's out there, any water loss that we calculate the actual cost of the water as it was leaking out in the system. So we keep up with it and we submit to whoever called in the locate request. I know that the contractor was working for Brightspeed this morning. I'm not sure exactly whose name was on the locate request. But we do track that and submit it for damages.
So just so everybody understands the severity of it, if I understand correctly, it drained our water tower back here? Is that,
Oh, yeah.
So that leak drained our water tower, so you guys were able to valve it off and
Yeah, what they
increase the
did
pressure?
to try to strategically allow that 4-inch water line to build pressure back up, they cut the tank off so it wouldn't be trying to fill the tank at the same time as, providing flow to the system. So it's slowly filling back up now. I think before we started meeting, it was back up to like 7 feet of water. But I think there is some issues still lingering out there that we're trying to figure out, because I'd gotten some calls from some businesses that
So
didn't
should
have
we
pressure.
still be under the boil water thing, you think,
So,
for the next couple of days?
Just to explain kind of what that's all about, we do a precautionary boil water advisory. A lot of utilities don't even do that, but it's because the system lost pressure, so you have the capability for backflow to happen if you had a crack in your water line and some bacteria gets in. So it's precautionary. It's not because we saw a sample that went bad, but we do immediately pull the samples once we've made the repair, take them to our lab, and we release that precautionary advisory once that sample comes back good. But it is truly a precautionary.
Yes.
Just one other question. With the new lines coming in service on Highway 24 later this year, what do you see as the long-term utility of the site that you currently are operating from on Old Hammocks Road, right over here off 24? Do you see long-term utility still with that site, or do you see at some point Onwassa not needing that use of that site?
That's a great question. So what we're working with the state right now is to maintain the permit associated with that site. Because as you can imagine, anytime you have a permit, precious, if you will, with the state, because they're reluctant to issue new permits on wastewater treatment throughout the county, which is what we're seeing in some other expansion. So we'll maintain it on paper, make sure we're filling out proper paperwork. The majority of that is associated with the disposal site. So that plant used to be a discharge plant before Onwassa took on. So there's actually a pipe that goes out into the intercoastal waterway right there next to it. And that was done away with right before we took over in the early 2000s. And there's a disposal site out at Parkertown. It's a high rate infiltration basin site. So it goes into the ground. But we are going to try to maintain that. One of the things that we did when we designed this wastewater treatment force main to the base is we made sure it had the capability to be rotated and turned the other way, because at the time we were concerned about the long-term partnership with the base. If they had an issue with capacities, then obviously there's provisions within that to give us notice. 3 years is all they're required to give us notice, but it takes quite a bit more than 3 years to get capacity or build a new plant. So it'd be good to hold as reserve potential needs for something went south with that partnership. We are exploring other and I think you guys may talk about that at a later meeting, but we are exploring other ideas for putting a regional wastewater treatment plant in the Huber area that could serve this region of our system. And it could also serve the base off-site too, if we pipe the wastewater flow to that site properly. But that is the risk, we have with having a third party provide us the wastewater treatment capacity. They've been a great partner. We have, I think, 2 million gallons per day capacity with them right now on paper. We have the provisions to be able to ask for more. I think part of that has been that we haven't been using very much of that. At 2 million, I think we use only about 400,000 gallons per day now. It's a small fraction of the total. So we're working on that. But yes, that's a long answer to, we would like to maintain the permit for that site just because it is hard to get new permits.
Anybody else have anything? All right, well, thank you, Frankie, and I'd like to thank Wayne for serving on the board on WASA. And thanks for coming out and explaining, and thank you so much for being on that leak today. And
Yeah, our guys.
it wasn't planned this way, but it kind of seems that way, doesn't it?
It always seems like it. I thought maybe perhaps you thought maybe I was trying to keep from having to come to the meeting, but no, I gladly come. And in fact, I'm going to get back on the calls on my way out to figure out what's going on with some low pressure calls that we just recently got. So I appreciate your time and as always our partnership. Thank you.
Have a good night. Okay, so we're going to move along now to employee introductions and oaths of office, and that would be Chief Dwayne Taylor would come up and join me.
All right, Mr. Mayor, Commissioners, I'd like to introduce two new officers that we've got to be sworn in this evening, Officer Aaron Thompson and Officer Shane Bruno. You got who you want to, they can hold the Bible, they can come up and hold the Bible. Okay. You got somebody? Okay. Thank you. It's on for
Does it work? Karaoke? Okay. All right, so say I, repeat your name, do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States, and I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to the state of North Carolina and to the constitutional powers and authorities which are or may be established for the government thereof, that I will endeavor to support, maintain, and defend the Constitution of said state, not inconsistent with the Constitution of the United States, that I will be alert and vigilant to enforce the criminal laws of this state, that I will not be influenced in any manner on account of personal bias or prejudice, that I will faithfully and impartially execute the duties of my office as police officer according to the best of my skill, abilities, and judgment. So help me God. All right, so now welcome our new police officer. If I can get you all to go now and let the commissioners congratulate you, and thank you so much for everything.
Thank you. Mr. Mayor, if I could, one little add-on here. We wanted to introduce another individual that we just brought in here this past week or so. Josh Johnson, if you'd come forward, please.
You're still in my comment thunder.
Okay. Mr. Mayor, Commissioners, everybody, this is Josh Johnson. He's our first volunteer member of the Volunteer Police Services, and he helps around the office. He helps Tom Peluso around the offices, answers the phone, and just about anything that we task him with, he's more than happy to do. So you may see him around town. He likes to get out of the office every now and then and walk around and just say hi to people. So, Josh, this is your chance to say hi. Come on back here and talk.
Yeah, so I'll give you the short spill. I come from a long lineage of military service on my mother's side of the family. They're from the western part of the state. They grew up in the mountains up in Avery County around the Banner Elk area. And during that time, my granddad started a tradition, military service, or grew up during the Depression. His brothers, they all served. Had 5 serve alone in Vietnam, and then my cousin Jessica recently retired after 20 years in the Army. 2025 is for 20 years. So, 8 years old, high-functioning autism diagnosed. My dream was to wear the uniform and serve. 22 years ago, I was told that I would not be able to do that because of my diagnosis. I was lost. I spent many years trying to figure out who I was supposed to be. But took bringing the Lord into my life to understand that the Lord's plan and the Lord's will was far different and far better than anything I could have ever hoped for myself. So wearing the uniform, serving along Swansboro's finest, I am honored, I am blessed, and I can't thank all of you enough for the opportunity to be able to do so. I think highly of everyone in this room. I may not know you, but I assure you, we are one together, and if there's ever anything I can do for any of you, I don't want you to feel like you can't ask. That's what I'm here to do. So God bless you all, and as I like to tell my fellow officers, my friends, and my brother, Ben Brim, that you're all great people, and I'm blessed to know you. Thank you.
If you'll come down and let everybody congratulate you. So I'd also like to recognize our cadets that Deputy Chief Brim has taken under his wing, and they're doing a great job with that as well. So thank you guys as well for everything you do. I do want to call Josh out real quick for after the 4th of July. He was going around with another officer. Is the other officer here tonight? I thought yeah. So these 2 officers, where is she at? All right. So they were going around after 4th of July, visiting businesses, and they went above and beyond. And a lady mentioned something about a extraordinary amount of, a lot of trash next to her business, and they went above and beyond and cleaned that up for that lady. And it was a pretty big pile of debris. So thank you all for that, and let's give them a round of applause for that too. Okay, so now we'll move to Arts by the Sea and Taste of the Town winners, and Miss Anna and Sarah, or one of you 2 or both are going to do it?
Okay, so we just had our Arts by the Sea.
Way to go, Sarah.
Okay, take 2. Sorry. I didn't even know what the off button was. So we had our... Okay. Hello. Okay. Better. Sorry about that. So we had our Arts by the Sea festival on June 13th, and with our Arts by the Sea festival, we have what's called our wine tasting and Taste of the Town. We had several different restaurants in Swansboro participate this year. They enter into categories, so best appetizer, best entree, and best dessert. It was very tough this year, and honestly, like the scorecards were really close. So anyways, without further ado, our first winner for appetizer was our drizzle for their olive oil and balsamic vinegar salad. This was Drizzle's first year participating too, so
And they're located on Front Street, is
yes,
that
correct.
correct?
They're
Yep.
on Front Street.
Yep.
Oh, here, do you want the mic? Here.
This won't take long. First and foremost, I'd like to thank each and every person who graciously allowed me to do business in this town. It's so different from the Northeast. And I see some familiar faces in here. I am more appreciative than you could know. I know that God has given me wonderful talents and gifts and blessings, and then He gives me the grace to deliver it in your town. And I'd like to say thank you so much. This means a lot to me.
Could you come by and let us shake your hand, please?
Awesome. So next we have Best Entree, which was our Burrow restaurant with their Cajun pasta. Ryan, do you want to talk? I know you don't.
No comment?
So Burrow actually entered all four of their restaurants, and they have very good food. They also won, El Chino won, Best Dessert for their chocolate mousse. So Ryan, get back up here. Now you have to.
Yeah.
I had a few of the chocolate mousse, and they were good. So we just want to thank all of our restaurants for participating in this. We had 70-some participants this year in it, so it's a lot of food, a lot of prep work for them. So we greatly appreciate their support and partnership in making this event special.
Okay, so that concludes that part, and thank you guys for being involved in our community so much and helping make this a better place to live with the food you provide our tourists and our locals here in town. So now we'll move into, with Anna, Parks and Recreation Month. We're going to read a proclamation. Okay, so this is July's Parks and Recreation Month. This is what we're doing. We're designating it as that as such. And so whereas Parks and Recreation is an integral part of communities throughout this country, including the town of Swansboro. And whereas Parks and Recreation promotes health and wellness, improving the physical and mental health of people who live near parks. And whereas Parks and Recreation promotes time spent in nature, which positively impacts mental health by increasing cognitive performance and well-being and alleviating illnesses such as depression, attention deficit disorder, and Alzheimer's. And whereas Parks and Recreation encourages physical activities by providing space for popular sports, hiking trails, swimming pools, and other activities designated to promote active lifestyles. And whereas Parks and Recreation is a leading provider of healthy meals, nutritional services, and education. And whereas parks and recreation programming and education activities such as out-of-school, time programming, youth sports, and environmental education are critical to childhood development. And whereas parks and recreation increases a community's economic prosperity through increased property values, expansion of the local tax base, increased tourism, the attraction and retention of businesses, and crime reduction. And whereas parks and recreation is fundamental to the environmental well-being of our community, and whereas parks and recreation is essential and adaptable infrastructure that makes our communities resilient in the face of natural disasters and climate change, and whereas our parks and natural recreation areas ensure the ecological beauty of our community and provide a place for children and adults to connect with nature and recreate outdoors. And whereas the U.S. House of Representatives has designated July as Parks and Recreation Month, and whereas the town of Swansboro recognizes the benefit derived from parks and recreation resources, now therefore be it resolved that I, William Justice, on behalf of the Board of Commissioners in the town of Swansboro, do hereby proclaim that July is recognized as Parks and Recreation Month in the town of Swansboro, and signed. So thank you very much. And these ladies do a tremendous job for our community with the budget that y'all have to operate with.
So good evening, everybody, and thank you for being here tonight as we recognize Parks and Recreation Month. This is the time to celebrate the people, places, and programs and partnerships that make Parks and Recreation such an important part of our community. Parks and Recreation is more than just fields, facilities, playgrounds, and programs. It is an essential service that supports public health, quality of life, youth development, senior engagement, economic vitality, environmental stewardship, and community connection. Our parks and programs give people a place to gather, play, learn, stay active, and feel a sense of belonging. I especially want to recognize our Parks and Recreation staff. Their work is often visible during only events and programs, but so much of what they do happens behind the scenes. Planning, preparing, maintaining spaces, solving problems, welcoming participants, and making sure our community has a safe and meaningful opportunities to play. I also want to thank all the town departments that help make our work possible. Public Works, you help keep our parks clean, safe, and ready to use. Fire and Police, you support the safety and success of our events and programs. Town Administration, you provide important leadership and support that help our departments and coordinate events and programs and services. Our Parks and Recreation Advisory Board, your dedication and guidance and efforts help us create welcoming, enjoyable parks. We are also grateful for our entertainers, performances, nonprofit organizations, and our instructors that help lead our programs and our festivals and special events that bring them to life. Their talent and energy create a welcoming atmosphere that draws people together and makes these community celebrations memorable. So I believe that we have some of these partners in our audience today. I know we have an instructor, if you would like to stand, and we have some community partners from our entertainers from Arts by the Sea. If you'd like to go ahead and stand, thank you for supporting us. And Parks and Recreation Board as well. Elena. I'm getting there. I also want to offer a sincere thank you to our community partners, volunteers, and sponsors. Whether your support is financial, in kind, volunteer-based, or through shared resources, it matters. Paid sponsorships help us expand programs, events, and services. In-kind contributions, time, materials, equipment, expertise, and hands-on support are just as valuable and make the difference between a good idea and a successful community experience. I do see some sponsors in the audience as well. If you guys would stand, Randy, Ryan. Thank you. You guys are. I also see some community partners and volunteers. Mary Pat. Look, I see some pickleball people in there too. Thank you. So again, as we celebrate Parks and Recreation Month, I just hope that you remember that Parks and Recreation is not just something nice to have. It's a part of the foundation of a healthy, connected, and thriving community. Thank you to everyone who helps makes this work possible, and thank you to our residents for continuing to show up, participate, and support Parks and Recreation. Thank you.
I do want to say that those ladies and our board, advisory board, and sponsors and all, especially these ladies over here, they put on a lot of programs for our younger kids and our adults, and they do a lot with a little, and so thank you so much for that. You really do. Okay, so we'll move to public hearing, and there is no public hearing tonight, so we'll move to business non-consent, and that would be public street and sidewalk acceptance request for Swansgate, and Rebecca Brimmer will give us a presentation on that.
All right, good evening, Mr. Mayor and Commissioners. We have a public street and sidewalk acceptance request for Swansgate subdivision. Tidewater Associates, on behalf of A-Sides Construction, is requesting acceptance of public streets and sidewalks for Swansgate subdivision. This request includes all streets within the subdivision and all sidewalks. And just to be clear, it does not include any stormwater, so just streets and sidewalks. The developer has completed the required improvement and repairs for the subdivision, and NCDEQ state stormwater permit is in compliance and has been successfully transferred from the developer to the Swansgate HOA as of January 2026. Larian, a local engineering firm, was hired by the town to complete an inspection and report on the streets and sidewalks in May of 2023, and all repairs on that report were completed. Due to complications with the transfer of the stormwater permit to the HOA, the request for street and sidewalk acceptance was delayed. When they came back around recently, 2 years had passed, so we opted to have a new inspection report completed by Larian in April to make sure nothing had changed since then. There was a few items that needed to be addressed, and the maintenance items referenced were all coordinated with both myself, John, and our new Public Works Director, Steve. And all items were completed and approved. We did a walkthrough to verify that. So we have a lot of documentation attached to the agenda here. We have the recorded plat, the street certification, the as-built certification for the stormwater system, the cost opinion of calculation of the required 1-year 10% warranty, as well as a letter of comfort for credit from First Citizens Bank has all been provided by the applicant. And we also have Josh Edmondson from Tidewater here representing the request. So if there's anything I can't answer, he should be able to. So there's a lot of attachments here, but do you guys have any specific questions for me or Josh?
So, yeah, that 1-year guarantee, that's just typical standard
That's
thing,
what's
right?
required by our
Yeah.
ordinance. Yep.
Go ahead, Tamara, I'm sorry.
Pictures that we saw.
Mm-hmm. Yep, we did a walkthrough with Josh, John, and myself, as well as some of the Public Works crew. We all walked through and verified that it was completed.
Anybody else have any questions for Rebecca or for Josh?
Just one comment, Rebecca. I mean, and I know you said this, but just to further clarify that, you know, this is for streets and sidewalks, even though other items were covered in the report.
Yeah, so the engineer just did a full report of everything just to make sure the town was fully aware of what they were getting into. Stormwater, of course, plays an integral part of the function of the subdivision and related to streets and sidewalks as well. So we wanted to make sure all systems were functioning correctly, even though the request is just for streets and sidewalks.
Thank you.
So they have a HOA that would assume responsibility for the
Correct.
stormwater?
Yep, the
Just to
stormwater
clarify,
permit is
yeah.
now with the HOA.
Okay, anybody else have questions? Okay, so I need a motion to approve or deny the resolution 2026 R9. So is there a motion to approve or deny?
Motion to approve.
Okay, so we have two motions to approve. Do I have a second? I'm assuming. Okay, so have a first motion and a second. Any discussion on that?
Actually, yes. I can say whenever that development started, I wasn't in favor of it for a lot of reasons. Mainly because it was so close to me. But over the last couple of years, I want to tell you, if you haven't been to that neighborhood, it's really nice. It's well maintained. They have some issues with cracking sidewalks and streets. Of course, it's going to happen with anytime you have a new development like that. But they've corrected the stuff. The people there are the ones that I've talked to, really nice, and I'm glad it happened. So for me, this was a pretty easy thing. I took a walk through there the other night myself. I communicated with Wayne over here, and it's great. So if you haven't seen it yet, go over and check it out.
Bill, can I ask one question, please? Raz, from your perspective then, everything that you reviewed looks appropriate and no concerns that you have on your end?
Okay, everybody good? All right, so we have a first and a second, and so we'll vote on it. All in favor of approving that resolution, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? So it's unanimously approved, and thank you very much,
Thank
Rebecca.
you all.
And thank you, Josh. Okay, so now we're going to move back to Anna, and we'll discuss our RFQ for contract negotiation approvals for Parks and Rec.
Good evening, mayors and commissioners. So the town of the Swansboro received 2 proposals in response to the RFQ for grant writing services for the support of the applications for the Land and Water Conservation Fund and the Parks and Recreation Trust Fund programs. Both proposals were received by the town manager, finance, or reviewed by the town manager, finance director, Parks and Recreation director, and the Parks and Recreation Advisory Board. Based on their review, all recommended selecting Withers and Ravenel to provide grant writing services for the LWCF and part of grant applications. So we just need a motion to approve or deny the authorization for the town of Swansboro to enter into contract negotiations for Withers and Ravenel for grant consulting services.
Okay, does anybody have any questions for Anna?
Just a quick comment. A couple of us were fortunate to attend the Parks and Rec meeting where this was discussed, and just wanted to applaud the advisory board for the detailed discussions that they had evaluating the 2 proposals. Asking, in my opinion, all the right questions, the same things that I would have asked about past performance and proven track record, especially when you looked at the one that you selected with the recent success that they've had on multiple projects in 2025 and 23, and one just right down the road, obviously, in Holly Ridge for $500,000. So if we have similar success, I think that'll be obviously fantastic for the future of Parks and Rec's items that we want to get after. So thank you for the detailed look that you provided in your recommendation to us.
Okay, anybody else? So I need a motion to approve or deny the authorization for the town to enter into a contract with Winters Ravenel for grant consulting services. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve.
Okay, a second?
Second.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second. Any discussion on that? Okay. So all in favor of approving, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. So that passes to unanimously. Thank you.
Mayor, just for a point of clarification.
Yeah, sure.
That's to authorize us to enter into contract negotiations. So we will negotiate a contract with them and bring it back to you
Okay.
one more time
Okay.
to agree to the contract.
So you're going, it's for, to negotiate a contract, not contract negotiate. I got you. Keep me straight, John. Okay, so now, I guess this is Miss Elisa.
Good evening. The newly appointed Appearance Commission was tasked with establishing their bylaws, which provide the commission's internal organization and meeting procedure in accordance with its advisory role per the town ordinance and state laws. After final review and approval for adoption at the commission's last meeting, the final bylaws are now presented to you tonight for final approval by the board. Do you have any questions or any concerns related to the bylaws for the Appearance Commission?
I don't. Does anybody have any questions for Elisa? All right, so with no questions, we'll need a motion to approve to adopt the Appearance Commission bylaws as recommended by the Appearance Commission. So is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve?
Second?
Second.
Any discussion on that?
Actually, yes, again. That is real well written. I know Commissioner Herbert and I talked about it. I shouldn't be surprised with the work you guys do, but I only had to read it once. And everything was there the way it was supposed to be, I thought. Apparently, Commissioner Herbert thought. And great job. Thank you.
All righty, so we have a motion to approve in a second, so we'll vote on it. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? So those bylaws are adopted. Okay, so we'll continue on with you, I guess.
Moving on to future agenda topics. Upcoming for July 28th, you will have a public hearing for UDO text amendments related to code enforcement. Chief Randall will give a fire EMS update. We will tentatively see a sidewalk priorities project update, and we'll have our regular monthly financial report. Looking forward to August. In your consent agenda tonight, you did approve a resolution for an annexation, which you will see come in August, so there'll be a public hearing in August, as well as your regular monthly financial report. But right now, August is looking a little light, but we always see stuff come up. Did anybody have anything else they'd like to see on a future agenda?
Anybody have any future? Yeah.
Bill, if I may, I know we briefly brought this up at the last meeting, was just prioritizing our grant applications, what we're getting after to speak with one voice. And I think this is aligned with, I heard other commissioners mention as well, the importance of the sidewalks, the importance of stormwater management. And again, just speaking with that one voice, that when we do have an opportunity to meet with Representative X or Y, that's what we're conveying are the priorities for Swansboro. And I don't know what that looks like as an agenda item, so John, I defer to you, but just, again, with that list, if it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or it's 1A, 1B, 3, 4, 5, what have you, but just so we're aligned and synchronized as a board.
Right, and we are creating that document, and you're going to see it monthly. It'll be in your second monthly meeting agenda packet. There'll be a slide in with, I believe it's going to be in with the finance report. You'll see, because Sonia already updates you on current grant activity. So what we're going to do is have another slide that updates you on grants that we have applied for or are pending that we don't know whether we're getting funded yet or not. So we're creating that. You'll see, you'll get a look at it at your next board meeting, the July 28th. 28th. And if you don't like the layout of that, we can change it, but you'll see it real soon.
Okay. Yeah, I feel like there's two components to it. There's the piece of reflecting what we're getting after and what we're applying for and the status, and if they're ranked, again, 1 through whatever, and that's our priority. And if we have the opportunity, for example, Senator Lazara's in town and he wants to see something and he wants to know, hey, what do we need assistance with? Here's the top 2 items that we would like assistance with, if you know what I mean.
I think I understand what you're saying, but with any grant, we can apply for, you can always decline it. So maybe the match is too much or the timing is not right. We have maybe we get 2 of them at one time and we can't afford both of them. So that's when you might have to prioritize, well, which one do we want to accept? And perhaps, some of them have, depending on the value of the grant, a 25% match or something like that could be substantial to us. So you all would have to decide which ones you want to prioritize.
All right, thank you.
Oh, you have some?
Yeah, hey, John, in a related topic, this is for you. Would you like another rock in your pack and stuff? Because there's another grant opportunity, as you're aware of, with the state advertising the boat infrastructure grant that they're making available. I'm sure you're aware of it. Okay. So I would suggest that there's going to be a webinar tomorrow, on the 15th. Most of us are, at least I'm registered for it, and I'm sure a few of the commissioners are too. I'm sure it's going to bring up ideas, sort of like a brainstorming thing, and they're going to answer a lot of Q&A and stuff about what's available, why, how much, which tiers, and where we fall in that. I would suggest that maybe we do, after the webinar, possibly put an agenda item together, get a working group together, and list out what our priorities would be that would fall under the categories of that grant. Just wanting to hear your ideas back from that.
That's heavy. I'm going to beat the public water access discussion to death, but I would love to see where we're at with that. As far as what accesses are really available for our public to access the water and enjoy it. I've also, under the community presentation, I've been trying to highlight some of the good things that are going on in the community, like Mr. Mabry that has gone to South America. There's another group called Zoe, and they are going to Tanzania, and they would like to come in and just tell their story to the town sometime in August, if we could do that. Probably the second meeting in August, I think she said would be best for her. Her name is Linda Folger, and I've got her contact information if you'd like to get it. But that's a real good, they go, and they don't just go and leave after doing work. They teach people how to be sustainable, and it's really a good program. So it'd be nice to highlight them. And with Emerton School being finished, do we have people that want to rent from us? Would it be appropriate to discuss that, or would that be something you would negotiate with them, or would that be something we'd want to have in a meeting discussion? I'm just asking.
There have been visitations of interest, but we have not had any formal meetings.
No formal, it's just been in
anything
passing.
of somebody wanting to proceed further and get into negotiations or talk about anything, so we haven't gotten anywhere like that. We've only just had people come look at it.
Yep. That's really all I have. Anybody else have anything? Okay. All right. Thank you, Elisa. So no items removed from consent, so we'll go straight to public comments, and this is for up to 5 minutes for anything, whether it's that's not on the agenda, and that's Mr. Tim Eason. And if you would state your name and address and speak clearly into the microphone, that would be great.
Yes, I'm Tim Eason. I live at 728 West Phillips Drive. First, I'd like to thank the Festivals Committee for a great July 4th fireworks. I think they did a very good job. Everybody, I was downtown, everybody that was surrounding me was very impressed. The white elephant in the room was all the traffic that was exiting downtown Swansboro at the same time. I'd like to see a consistent parking plan, which I know they have Ward's Farm, they have the Parks and Rec area, but it's not consistent. For the Arts by the Sea, they had shuttle service from Ward's Farm. For July 4th, they had no shuttle service. They provided area lighting, but it was not turned on. So I would just like to see a consistent parking plan. Obviously, the economy has not driven people away or kept them away from any of our festivals that we've had. And I think that if we have a consistent parking plan, that people will get used to being parking where they need to be, and we won't have the flood of vehicles that were downtown. I live 5 minutes away from the downtown area by golf cart. It took me over an hour to get home. At one point, I looked across at 4 intersections to 4 different streets, and it was bumper-to-bumper traffic trying to get out on 24. Until the police department came by and started directing traffic at 24, there was essentially no movement.
Was that coming out of, well, I shouldn't, it's not comment, it's not discussion, sorry. Go ahead. No, it's not discussion, it's not a.
My concern is emergency traffic going downtown. There was no way that a fire truck or an ambulance could have gotten downtown efficiently and in a timely manner. None. It was just bumper to bumper. You know, people were being people, not being courteous, and we need a plan, a consistent plan for our festival. Thank you.
Yep, thank you. All right, so that's all that's signed up for comment. Is there anyone else that would like to comment? Because I always open that up as well. Okay, so that concludes the public comment. Now we'll move into Mr. Barlow's manager comments.
I just want to make one comment about Emerton School. You brought that up a moment. We're getting near the close of that project.
Yeah.
Tomorrow, Thursday, we have a walkthrough to look at the, there's 2 pieces left, phases of that project to paint the metal ceilings and then to replace all the exterior doors. So once the ceilings are done, we can enter into a contract for the doors, and that'll be the last piece. So we're going to do the walkthrough Thursday on the ceilings, and then if that's okay, meets the state, the inspectors will be here with us. We will enter into a contract for the doors, and by August the 18th, that contract will be, for the doors should be finished, and the 30th will close out that grant. So we're getting near to the end of that project. It's turning out really well.
Thank you.
That's all I have.
That's all you have? Come on, John.
I was on vacation last week.
All right, so that's all the manager comments. We'll go to board comments. Doug, you never get to start. You want to start?
Hey, I just wanted to thank John, Sonia, Anna. I thought the 4th of July went off with fantastic, and everyone in the staff, the police, Dwayne, the fire department. I think everybody was pitching in, and I really appreciated that. Had family over, friends. Everybody was impressed from our perspective of the conduct of everything. Yeah, the traffic got a little congested. I get it. I think the number of people that showed up, and we can talk about a plan in the future that via Dwayne and stuff, maybe traffic flows or something that we can put more cones out or whatever else. Maybe even restrict parking to the outer areas. Who knows? So I'm going to deal with that one. The last one is visitor center is a quality build. Everybody that I know that's been through there says so. Sonia did a great job on buying the right stuff. I know every one of y'all participated in that. I also want to thank Randy for your participation from the TDA on that one as well, and our county representatives. Grand opening went off without a hitch, I thought. So that's a good feather in your cap for everybody down there. And I'll just close out with the same thing Father Don used to say at St. Mildred. How blessed, how fortunate we continue to be here.
Thank you. Camera? Here you go.
Thanks for everybody that came out tonight. I just felt this partnership. stop by that.
Just we'll work down this way.
Yeah, thanks for everybody for being here tonight, and thanks for those who are watching at home. We certainly appreciate it. I want to echo similar comments to our staff, our departments, all the volunteers for a very successful 4th of July event. I happened to be out in the water, so I had a great vantage point from looking at the town, and it was fantastic. And some pictures and videos people were sending me from downtown. The crowds were as big as ever, if not larger. Saw that the bathroom facility got a good workout. I heard about it. It sounded like it survived first contact fairly well. So again, thanks to everyone, and as said by Commissioner Eckendorf, Randy, to you and the TDA, thank you. Thank you for the consistent support. And it's been a while, but you and the county and helped us get us over the finish line, and we certainly appreciate that. The town and the community certainly appreciate that. Last thing I want to say is just give a quick shout out to our fire department and Onslow County EMS. We had a local resident who had a medical emergency last week, and from what I understand, our fire department was on scene within 5 minutes, and Onslow County EMS was 5 minutes behind you, so 10 minutes on scene. Can't say thank you enough and applaud you and your efforts for being prepared and professional as always, maintaining that relationship with the county and providing that assured services to our community. I know that individual appreciates it, that their family does, and I do, and we do across the board. So thank you to you and your team for all that you do.
All right, Jeff?
Yeah, it's been a interesting half week for myself, thanks to Parks and Rec. Myself, Commissioner Parati, and Mayor Justice volunteer for Safety Town. It's a deal where the kindergarten age kids come and they learn, get classes from the fire department, the police department, and actually some little driving skills too. They set up a little road with pedal carts and they got stop signs and everything, and they're trying to teach them how to be safe in the community. It's a great thing. Hope we have it again next year because we need to. It's a great thing, and thanks Parks and Rec Month. You guys do a good job in like public services. You guys kind of float under the radar, and people, they focus more on the police and fire department and stuff, and they don't think about those other two areas that are just as important for our town. The 4th of July celebration was great. Yes, we have parking issues. Yes, we have traffic issues, and until we can find a place where we can build us a bigger parking lot, that's going to unfortunately continue. But there have been discussions about a parking lot, but that's a little bit in the future, not that far, I hope. We're going to have to see how things play out, but it's been talked about. And what can we do and what can't we do legally, especially with our police department. So we know it's a problem. We've known it's a problem for a long time. Whenever we can have the shuttle, we do have the shuttle. So hopefully, maybe by next year, end of next year, we can have some stuff figured out with that. Mayor Justice and myself, we attended a groundbreaking ceremony for our Bear Creek Fire Department this morning. Sure, that'll help take a little bit of load off of our fire department. But it's a nice thing. I'd like to thank Onslow County for inviting us. I feel, and I know the mayor feels, our working relationship keeps getting better. We had issues some time back, but lines of communication are there. Things are working really well, and I'm glad to hear that. I'd like to thank obviously the residents, but also the business owners too, for the 4th of July. Everybody had a great time, and without the residents, yeah, we have a lot of people coming from out of town, but I saw a lot of residents that were pretty generous with allowing people to park in front of their house. And that's what we need to do, but we don't need to let it get congested either. Thanks, Randy, and all the business owners. We appreciate what you guys are doing for the town. And on WASA, great job. Thank you. They did it really quick. I was surprised, actually, how fast that they got it repaired. I hope the relationship continues.
Well, I'm going to reclaim John's time since he didn't have any, so I'll be here for about another 15 minutes or so. No, it'll be under 5, but I do have quite a few things I'd like to just bring up. So Jeff and I had the occasion to go to a meeting a couple of weeks ago. It was the Onslow County Opioid Settlement Steering Committee, and it's the formative meeting of that committee to help determine how Onslow County is going to use money that they got in the settlement for the opioid crisis that's been going on. So they will meet every couple of months or every quarter or so. So we'll be giving reports on that hopefully going forward. And it's an honor for us to be able to go and participate in that. We had several visits this past week. Of course, it's election year, so that's going to ramp up the visits from elected officials. Lori Buckhout came through and toured our town. And came and visited our public safety facility and talked with our chiefs and all. So we've got a lot of communication with her. Don Davis came through a couple of weeks, well, about a month or so ago, maybe a couple of months. It flies by so fast. But also Ted Budd's representative, Blake Belch, came through, and he and I toured high-speed gear and then looked around town. Jeff joined us. And looked at our public safety facility and also our new site for our public safety building. So we're just trying to get those lines of communication opened up at a higher level and maybe see what funding we can possibly get. I will say in relation to the Bear Creek groundbreaking today, they just are doing a fire department and they're spending $6.3 million just on the building, and that's not the land, that's just the building, my understanding. So also talking about funding, Wyatt Gable was able to get us $225,000 in funding approximately. He was hoping to try to get us more, but they limited what he was able to give out. But if you happen to see him or have correspondence with him, he got $200,000 for the for the fire department. He wished the police department, but $25,000 for the police department. Visitor Center had a great turnout. A lot of you people sitting here were at that ribbon cutting, and it's nice to see the community come out and support that visitor center. And like it was already alluded to, TDA helped us tremendously as well as our county helped us. 4th of July, I had nothing but great comments on that all around. Anywhere I went, it was really great comments on that. And we've got the Lorax of New Bern lurking in the wings now. Doug Rogers on our appearance committee has planted over 110, 112 live oak trees around town, and he's been recognized on a couple of local TV stations. So if you see him, thank him for helping make the town look a little nicer. He does it at no cost to the town. I think he charges the people for the tree, whatever the tree costs, and he plants it for them. And so they call him the Lorax of Swansboro on the TV. So it's kind of funny, but give him some recognition. Our police cadets, we already recognized them earlier. Safety Town, like I said, with the fire department, like you said, with the fire department and Parks and Rec, y'all have done a great job for the second year in a row. And those kids are really excited, and that makes an impression on them. Isabella, our Military Child of the Year last year, just got recognized again. She got an $80,000 scholarship to go to college. So that's another positive in our community that's out there. So I just want to recognize her again. She gets a lot of recognition, but we should be proud of that young lady. And of course, it's time to ramp up for Tunnels to Tower again. There's a lot of people working behind the scenes that I won't say their names, but I could probably glance over that way. And so if you feel inclined to help in any way, I'm sure they could always use any assistance that's needed. It's just informative. They do a great job with that every year. So that's enough of me talking. So anybody else have any? Okay, with that being said, I'd like to get a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second. Any discussion on that? I guess not. So we have a first and a second, so a vote, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? So ayes have it, so we're adjourned. And thank you all for coming out tonight and joining us.
Gonna be in the webinar.
Yes, sir. I think it's just, yeah, it would just, yeah.
You're gonna have to write
Yeah.
categories.
So I attended
Yep.
this meeting, and she waited patiently. He's actually part of the law, that are.
Well, now she wants to, open up a new one.
I got all kinds of pens. You can have the pen if you want it. I got all kinds of pens.
And I'm just like,
I got a work conflict with when they do it the third Wednesday of the month. Like, I got 2 boxes of them at home. Y'all can have it.
Attended last week.
It writes pretty good.
glad y'all showed up.
Very doctor he is.
There was a lot of
No, you,
their board.
okie dokie.
Kind of
How's
watched
work
the
going?
last 2 meetings, so this was a really good meeting with.
I got tapped on security.
Committees.
Academics.
Oh,